Okay everyone, we've got a 1989 Range Rover Classic with some floor rust in the front. I'm trying to deal with it in the least intrusive manner. I've taken the front wing off, or front fender off, just to be sure with the wheel off to get good access. That's not a big deal, by the way. The Range Rover manual, section 76, tells you a good method how to get off the wing. It's quite simple. I've found, and I've drilled that original piece of metal along the spot welds, because really we want to take out this piece and make another one exactly the same. So you can see the rest of the floor is pretty well just surface rust. Let's take a look from underneath. You can see you have to be careful with that brake line and some other cables. We'll pause the video and show you what I've done. Here's the back of that piece that was removed, that floor piece. Underneath it there was a bracket. Drilled those out to remove that. So this is looking from the top down, that piece, and I've now made a new piece that fits perfectly like that. I've put a lip here coming up because that will be used to be welded. So I've got to treat all these edges with weld through primer, both sides, and then in the car, and then we'll be ready to weld it in. I'll come back to you. Okay, so here we are with a dry fit, cleaned up some rust and put on the mud flap, which has a locating stud here, there, and the frame goes underneath so you can see how it's all going to fit together. And then there's the underneath part there. There's the fuel line. You can see the new piece of floor that I've cut out, and it'll be welded from both sides. Now let's look from the top. There it is. Those three bolts are the, or nuts, screws are the mud flap fixings. That's exactly how they were before. So this is an original floor, and that's a piece cut out that I've made up to replace, like for like. Okay, we'll come back later. And here we are with a new panel compared to the old one. The three holes for the mud flap, which helped us locate it to get it in the right spot. All the weld through primer front and back where it's going to be welded. Let's see if we can get it in position. About there. That's going to sit very nicely there. Look at that. It's going to sit real nice when you push it down and weld those. We can weld those through. All right, ready for welding. Okay, here we are underneath again. A bit difficult doing the overhead welding, but I've through welded where I can, tacked it together. It's good enough now. It's definitely stronger than it was before. We also have to remember that this bracket here goes on afterwards. That protects the brake line. That'll go on at the end. You can see I've had to tack together the original floor with the sill, and then there's the new piece with all the plug welds and tack welds. 3 holes in it for the mud flap bracket, but it's ready for the next step, which is epoxy paint seal. Then we'll follow up with seam seal and paint. Very good. Okay, now here's the seam sealer that's been applied from the underneath to the over the weld, or over the lap joint where the weld was. Looking good. Let's check the inside. I'm using a soft plastic putty knife, just applying some seam seal generously. I've got plenty of seam seal. No need to be using it sparingly, because we want it to get everywhere. It's hard to film it as well as apply it, but I think you get the picture how I'm doing it. I'll come back to you. Okay, here we are. Seam sealer already applied with a primer on top, a gray primer. And remember that before the welding, well, the welding was done, and then immediately after that was the epoxy, clear epoxy paint, lacquer or whatever, and then seam sealer, and then the primer. There's the support bracket back in place, riveted on. It's looking great. This is ready for now the final underbody rubberized spray. Floor already done. You can see those 3 holes there with the mud flap frame, ready for the mud flap frame, and that's all been primed up. Okay, I'll come back to you when I've done the final job. Okay, here we go. Underbody spray, and getting that nice rubberized coating underneath. I hope you can hear my voice. Okay folks, this is the last part of the video, completely finished underneath, and looking great with that rubberized coating underneath, and the cables have been put back onto their support. So that's the bottom, all complete. There it is, looking good for another 40 years. All right, cheers.